Hello everybody, I'm Daksh and today I'm going to be presenting with Robin, Tarandeep, Josh, and Harmandeep. So we're going to be discussing the economic problem, demand and supply, elasticity, the short run and the long run, perfect competition, monopoly, and imperfect competition. Here's a bit of background information on the company we chose. We chose the Calgary Flames. The Flames are Calgary's official hockey team. They play in the NHL and they used to be known as the Atlanta Flames, but now they're located here. And, maybe one day they'll start winning some games. So for the first chapter, one of the main things it talks about is opportunity cost and scarcity. So scarcity is when, because in this world we have unlimited wants, but there's only a limited amount of supplies. So there can only be a limited amount of products that can be produced. So because everybody wants a house, but there can only be a certain amount of houses that can be produced. So it's important for companies to pick and choose what they produce, because producing one product usually means that they have to give up the production of a different product. So for an example that the Calgary Flames, where they fit in here, it is when in the NHL, there's a salary cap. So every team has a certain amount of money that they can pay to their players. This is to avoid, one team just paying everybody, all the good players, money so they can just keep winning, right? So in the NHL, there's a rule that prevents that from happening, because there's a certain budget that they can pay. So if a team decides to, let's say, pay 30% of their money to one player who's really good, that means they only have 70% to pay the rest of the players. But they could also just, evenly split it up into all mid-tier players, but it depends on what they're going to do. So the opportunity cost of picking one really good player is giving up, let's say, two decent players, because if everybody was going to take 15%, but now this one really good player is going to be taking up most of the money. So the next thing that I'd like to talk about is the power of trade. Trading can usually help both parties focus on what they both do best. And this helps an economy grow. In the NHL, there's also trades that happen. Teams trade their players or their draft picks. And trades can help both teams get better, because if Team A has a player that doesn't fit their style of play, they can always trade that player to Team B for a player that does fit their style of play, and the player that got traded from Team A could, maybe be a better fit for Team B. And in this case, both teams could, succeed from that. And that goes outside of the NHL too, in real life too. Sometimes most times people do trade, or countries do trade things to maximize production and maximize efficiency. Next, we have demand and supply. In economics, demand is the desire and the ability to purchase a good or service. So it's not, and usually when we say demand, we say, I demand this. It's more that it's something that you want and have the ability to buy. So if you have the money or whatever it takes to buy it. And demand can be affected by many factors, like price of a different product that is, either it's a substitute product. It can also be affected by the income of the people that are buying it. So if income in a market goes up, people will start buying the better product, which is usually called the luxury. If it goes down, they're gonna buy the inferior product. So if people start making more money, they're gonna buy more KD, craft dinner. But if they start making less money, they're gonna start buying PC products, President's Choice, because now that they don't have enough money, they have to settle for the worst or the inferior option. And demand for Flames tickets and merchandise is usually high in Calgary because people enjoy supporting their favorite team, even when they don't deliver. So next we have supply, and supply is just the quantity that a supplier is willing and able to produce and supply to their market at a certain price. There's different supplies at different prices because people are greedy and the supply depends on the price. And because high demand always results in high supply. People always want more money. So if demand for green socks goes up today, tomorrow there's going to be way more green socks being supplied into the market. But if the demand for green socks goes down, the supply will also go down because people are only going to supply what people are willing to buy. So supply and demand go hand in hand. So for the Flames, it doesn't look like they're expecting a spike in their supply, or in their demand anytime soon because they are moving into a new arena in 2026, and the seating capacity in that arena is smaller, or well, slightly smaller. It's 18,000 seats, and in the current arena it's 19,000, so around 1,000 less seats in this new arena. That's because they're not expecting more ticket sales. If they were, then they would obviously add more seats because the demand would go up for ticket sales, which means they would supply more seats or more tickets. And so next we have market equilibrium. So at every price, there's a different quantity of supply and demand. That's again because when price goes up, supply goes up, and when price goes down, supply goes down. Demand goes up. Because people are greedy again. They always want to buy their stuff at the best price, and they also want to sell their stuff at the highest price. And market equilibrium is when the supply and demand meet. So when supply equals to demand. So if in the market there are 10 people looking for green socks, and there are 10 people supplying green socks, obviously one pair of sock each. Now the market is at equilibrium at whatever price that the supplier is willing to sell it. So if, let's just say $3 per pair of sock is the equilibrium price. And usually a shortage causes the price to rise, and a surplus causes the price to fall. A shortage is when there's not enough, when the demand is higher than supply, and a surplus is when the supply is higher than demand. So when the demand is higher than supply, the price is going to rise because suppliers are going to be like, oh, we can sell this for more because there are more people looking to buy this. And the other way for when surplus is higher, when there's a surplus, because there's going to be too many products to sell, and no one wants to buy them, so they're going to be selling them for cheaper. That's what happens with Halloween candy on after Halloween. It's cheaper now because no one's looking to buy it. The demand has gone down, so the prices dip. And then for the Flames, their ticket prices are constantly changing. This is usually based on the importance of the game. So they're never really at a market equilibrium because the prices are always changing, and there's always either demand's higher or supply's lower. But it's usually based on the importance of their game. Like around playoff time, the demand for seats goes up. The demand for merchandise goes up because people want to support their team. The demand for every product goes up that the Calgary Flames sell. But let's say it's a regular season game that no one cares about too much. The demand for that game, like the tickets for that game, are going to be not very high.
Hello everyone, my name is Josh and I'm going to cover the chapter 3, which is demand and supply, and chapter 4, which is equilibrium, and going to give a live example as well, um, for how these factors make a effect in Calgary Flames as a team. So starting with equilibrium price and total revenue. So in this one, I've given an example of in the economic realism, equilibrium price and total revenue are interactual linked balance between the supply and demand force. So let's take an example of Calgary Flames. So if in a Calgary Flames, if a demand is more and there are more matches, then there is going to be a supply, and if there is a supply, there is going to be a demand. So these factors link together, and yeah, they are quite important ones, that how price and total revenue matters a lot, and they are linked with each other. And the next one is production quota and team performance. In economic terms, a production quota acts as a deliberate constraint on output to influence price positively. So, yeah, let's take an example in this one as well. I'll give you the examples in written as well. So, in this one, a production quota for the team, the limitation might spark heightened demand for the tickets due to the perspective scarcity, positively driving up the revenue as fans clamor and secure a spot to a exclusive event. So if they are an exclusive event, then the supply is less and demand is going to be more. So in this one, the company is going to do definitely going to do well, because the demand is more and supply is less in the production quota and team performance. Going to the next slide, we have subsidies and team support. So, economic subsidies are designed to boost the equilibrium quantity of a product or service. Imagine the government or corporate sponsors providing subsidies to Calgary Flames. This financial injection could enhance the team resources, leading to improving performance on the ice as the team achieves greater success, fan support, and may rise, resulting in increased attendance, merchandise sales, and overall revenue. Yeah, so these factors matters a lot, because Calgary Flames doesn't earn his livelihood from just selling the tickets. They sell their merchandise, they sell their characters as well. So if you are a fan of some player, you'll definitely go and buy a jersey of him before going to the game, right? So that things matters a lot, and they make a lot by the small factors as well. It's talking about the effects of similar simultaneous changes. Both economic market and sports team experience the effect of simultaneous change in supply and demand, team performance, and external factors. Picture the interactive dance between the elements for the Flames. Shifting in player roosters, change management, or alternating fan sentiments can collectively influence the team equilibrium, impacting their attendance, revenue, and overall market perspective. So these perspectives matters a lot, because if a team player has a good perspective and has a good following, the people are going to come to see his match, and yeah, Calgary's Flames is going to make some profits on that. Now going to the next, equilibrium price and ticket revenue. So equilibrium price and total revenue in economics, equilibrium price and total revenue finds their analogy in the ticket prices and overall revenue generated by the Calgary Flames. Finding the right balance is crucial. Maximizing the revenue without alienating fans, for example, setting tickets price too high, may lead to a decrease in attendance, affecting the overall revenue. That's of course is if the ticket prices are too much, then fans are going to think twice before coming, It's something different for the Taylor Swift that all the people were attending his concert. So the next is production quota and game schedule. Just as production quota restricts output to influence prices, limiting the number of games could impact the Calgary Flames revenue. Applying to the Calgary Flames, imagine a scenario where Calgary Flames play a few games. The scarcity might increase the demand for tickets, positively impacting the revenue. So these factors matters a lot, and they can be a positive factor or a negative factor. So if there are less games, then the price is going to be more. Sorry, for the tickets, and yeah, it may create a demand and supply mm, shortage. Yeah. Going to the next, market dynamics and team success. The competitive dynamics among hockey team aligns with the economic principles of competitive market. Simultaneously, change in team equilibrium affects the simultaneous changes. Change in player roster, fan sentiments, and influence the team equilibrium, impacting the attendance, revenue, and market perspective. I've already talked about this one, and how the market dynamics and team success matters a lot, and they are interrelated to each other. The last one, second last one, income elasticity is a luxury versus necessity. So if we take all the data and calculate it, if it's less than one, so if the income elasticity is greater than one, then it's a luxury. If it's less than zero, sorry, well, less than zero, and yeah, then it's a necessity for fans to watch the match. I think so. It should be, if we collect the data, it should be under the luxury events. It's not a necessity for sure. Talking about the cross elasticity substitutes versus complements, economic concepts, cross elasticity attendance for flames games and other entertainment option can be analyzed to determine whether they are a substitute or a complement. So there are many sports event which goes around the year, and people, if the people watch it over hockey, then it's known as a substitute, and if not, it's a complement. So if there is a F1 race going on with the Calgary Flames games as well, and if people are watching F1 game, then it's a substitute for the hockey. So we can watch both. It depends totally on the preferences. Yeah, that's all about the elasticity, and yeah, that's all. Thank you so much.
The professional hockey team Calgary Flames is formerly known as the Atlanta Flames when they entered the National Hockey League in 1972 and is owned by Calgary Flames Limited Partnership. Now let us talk about some of the cost. The first cost we are going to talk about today is fixed costs. What do you mean by fixed costs? Expenses that are fixed and unaffected by the volume of production or company activity are known as fixed costs. Whether the club pays more or fewer games, these expenses don't change. The first fixed cost we're going to talk about today is the payment for management and the staff members. Since front desk, executive, management, and some staff members are usually hired for a set length of time, their salaries may be regarded as fixed costs. The second cost is arena lease payment. The lease payment would be a set cost if the team had a long term lease on its arena. The third cost is some administrative changes. Certain administrative changes, such as yearly license fees or insurance premium, may be set as a predetermined length of time. The second cost we are going to talk about is the variable cost. Now, what do you mean by variable cost? Variable costs are basically those costs which may vary in the direct proportion to the level of production or the business activity. In other words, these costs change as the production increases and as that means that if the production is increasing, then the variable cost will also increase, and if the variable costs are decreasing, the production also decreases. Like it includes raw materials, direct labor, or utilities. But in this case, the variable costs are as follows. The first variable cost is the payment for the players. Certain player pay long-term contract might be fixed, but other player income might be flexible because they depend on their performance or the number of games played. The second variable cost is travel expenses. Depending upon the quantity and the location of away games, team travel expenses such as lodging, meals, and transportation may change. The third variable cost is game day operations. Depending upon the size and type of each game, there may be differences in cost associated with the game day operations and such as event staffing, security, and promotional activities. The third cost we're going to talk about is the semi variable cost. Fixed. Now, what do you mean by semi variable cost? Fixed and variable cost are both included in some expenses. A cost might, for instance, consist of a fixed base amount and an extra variable amount that changes according to the activity levels. This is, for example, the infrastructure for the arena. Basic utility costs might be fixed, but as more games are played, the energy consumption may cause the variable component to rise. Now, let us talk about the real cost. What do you mean by the real cost? Real cost basically refers to the actual cost which are incurred in business operation or economic activity. These costs are tangible and measurable and represent the financial resources that a company expends to produce goods or services. Real costs may both be a variable as well as the fixed cost. In this case, the real cost is coming from the city of Calgary, which is putting up to the $831 million in cash to build a new arena complex in Victoria Park, nearly which is 3 times what the previous council committed in 2019. The Flames are putting up to $40 million. The Alberta government is contributing to up to $300 million for infrastructure that upgrades the new arena, including an underpass beneath the CP train tracks on 6th Street North Southeast and the demolition of the Saddle Dome. This was all about the type of cost and their factors which affect the Calgary Flames Limited Partnership.
Hello everyone, my name is Harmony Kaur and here I would like to explain about the short and long run. First of all, we will talk about our short run. Like we are here choosing companies category claims. So, according to our company category claims, the short-term performance would involve the current season standings, player performance. Like it depends on the result on their current events like development affecting the teams. This could include the injuries, the key players, coaching changes, trade activities that might impact teams' immediate performance, as well as like changes that impact on the groups, especially in a team. Our Calgary Flame, it's a famous hockey team, national. So it's our short run. If I talk about the long run, like management choices, player development plans, and financial security. In the long run, the team success would be dependent by various factors like management decisions, player development strategies, financial stability, and ability to adapt to the changes. It's a very important. If players have a ability to adapt to changes, that team will be successful. It can be seen. The capacity to adjust in a modification, like new things, it's also important. The key of our long-term success is the adjusting in a new team members, new situations, new modifications. Our sport team ability to keep a competitive roster provides draft selections. It's often linked to ability to maintain a competitive roster, make a strategy and create a strong organization culture. So it's about a long run and short run. So let's move to the next topic, that is a perfect competition. If I talk about the perfect competition scenario, no single firm has a power to influence the market price. Like perfect competition means a individual team have a unique identities. Like revenue streams can influence their financial standing through factors such as ticket sales, broadcasting rights, and sponsorships. Let's talk about our behalf of our Calgary Flames. Like other NHL, operate in a competitive environment, but Calgary Flames it's not a perfect competition. Why? Let's talk about that. Actually, NHL has our own structure of a perfect competition, own rules, revenue sharing, everything. That's not. That's why the Calgary Flames are not a perfect competitive, because the success of and according to the NH team, the success depends on various factors like performance, management decisions, fan engagement. Like fan engagement means how our audience think about us, how they engage in our team, in our performance, overall economic health and luggage. It's also affected by that. So let's move to another slide, that is the profit and loss. Let's talk about the financial success. Firstly, I want to say that the financial performance of these sports teams like Calgary Film can be influenced by various factors like attendance of team members, margin, attendance of team members, and their performance, how they perform, their team, how they play, broadcasting rights, overall economic conditions. Teams with strong fan support, audience, successful market status, which team has a successful market teaching strategies that up in financial performance. And effective why management are generally better positioned to remain financially viable. So this is about my content. So thank you so much.
Okay, guys. So my name is Robin Tan, and now I'm gonna talk about monopoly. So monopolistic competition is a market containing many relatively small firms, whereas oligopoly is a market with a few large firms. So like the NFL, memberships in these leagues are limited. Each entity or person seeking an NBA or an NHL franchise or wishing to buy an existing team must be approved by affirmative vote of no fewer than three-fourths of members. A three-fourths majority is also required to transfer a membership to another entity. The Calgary Flames, like any professional sports team, operate within a different economic and competition. The professional sport industry has thrived with this formation of a symbiotic relationship with traditional mass media and a drive multi-sided market model characterized by a synergistic effect of value creation from both demand and supply side. Professional sport has developed into a special type of multi-sided market consisting of league as the central platform and the fans, the media, corporate sponsors, and host communities on different sides. Leagues generate revenues from fans primarily through gate revenues, the media via broadcast rights, corporate sponsors with sponsorship fees, and host communities via subsidies provided for facilities. However, professional sport is a special type of multi-sided market in two ways. So let's talk about the franchise system. So the NHL or the National Hockey League operates on a franchise system where limited number of teams are granted the right to participate. So each team has exclusive territorial rights, but there is still competition on the ice. For example, McDonald's, everybody knows them where they go in the world, the service, the type of product they're going to get from McDonald's. So you bring it down to your business franchise network. What is the service and the product that people are going to get from your network? How does it look like? So let's talk about now revenue sharing and salary cap. So the league may impose salary caps unless the players unionize and engage in collective bargaining negotiations. In a single entity league, the directors can decide on salary restraints by fiat and do not have to worry about conflicting ownership's interests, such as big market versus small market rivalries. No league has entirely open market in which every player is a free agent with the freedom to jump from one team to another. Every league engages in salary control, and the nature of the restrictions varies from league to league. In the NBA, NFL, and most recently NHL, a salary cap structure prohibits richer teams from gaining competitive advantage by signing high caliber players. So each of the leagues employs a system for drafting players. Usually the poorest performing teams have the right to get the best rookie players. That draft pick is an inclusive one for the team. In the NBA and the NHL, the draft replaced a territorial system whereby players living within a stipulated territory became the property of the team that play in that area, a system that produced skewed results. Now let's talk about media rights and broadcasting. So the Flames, like other NHL teams, may benefit from exclusive broadcasting rights within their local market. Broadcast and cable rights agreements are simpler to negotiate and can be based on different revenue models than the traditional league rights fee arrangement. In a single entity league situation, the league may either buy the time from the network or enter into a cost sponsoring agreement whereby revenues are split in some manner. So the amount of broadcasting revenues shared between teams in a particular league varies. The professional sports industry revenue sharing model, as noted earlier, was conceived in the early 1960s and became a brilliant success, beloved worldwide and year after year of strong competitive balance. Now, let's talk about imperfect competition. So, professional sports teams, including the Calgary Flames, are often better described in terms of imperfect competition rather than monopoly. So, imperfect competition refers to by economists to those more familiar market situations, and it describes much of modern capitalism reasonably. Professional sports team falls under the category of a franchise organization. A franchise is a form of business wherein successful firm like NHL allows others under license and for a fee to use its trade name, proprietary knowledge, and processes. So here are some of the concepts of imperfect competition that relates to the Calgary Flames as a business. So there is number one, limited number of competitors. So the NHL has a limited number of teams, and each team operates within exclusive territory. Professional teams in a league, however, must not compete too well with each other in a business way. It is unwise for all teams to compete as hard as they can against each other in a business way. If all the teams should compete, the stronger team should be likely to drive the weaker ones into financial failure. The next is product differentiation. Teams in the NHL differentiate themselves through their brand, players, performance, and overall fan experience. Professional teams in a league, however, must not compete too well with each other in a business way. The Flames, like other teams, aim to create a unique brand that attracts and retain a fan base. Next is the pricing power. So, the single most important decision in evaluating a business is pricing power. Pricing power is the ability to increase prices and not to lose sales volume. Teams in the NHL have some degree of pricing power, especially in terms of ticket price, merchandise, and sponsorship deals. However, this power is constrained by factors such as fan demand, economic conditions, and league regulations. Next is the barriers to entry. While it's not impossible for new teams to enter the league, there are significant barriers to entry, including the need for substantial financial resources, approval from the league, and the establishment of a fan base. Barriers to enter refers to monopoly that is protected from competitors in the market. So this contributes to the imperfectly competitive nature of the market. Lastly is the strategic interactions. So teams such as the Calgary Flames engage in strategic interactions, both on and off the ice. So one of the examples is a player trade to build a better team. So from CBS Sports transaction data, Calgary Flames traded Sharagovich for third pick Toffoli by 2023. By doing this, the business can attract the fans of Toffoli and would increase fan base.